Silence your cell phones now.
Since you asked, I hate blacks. I hate Jews, Mexicans and Irish, Italians and Chinese. But my mouth to God's ears, I really hate those black rats. And anyone else, really, that doesn't have pure white Aryan blood running through their veins.
What's going on YouTube? It's NC, the place to be, chilling, I'm saying, back to give you guys another movie experience. I know this one's late, but not as late as Christopher Robin, because this one came out last weekend. And once again, I just could not get to the review in time for this one. But you know what? We're going to review a director that I have not reviewed on this channel yet. I'm a fan of his, just not of his work in the past like 15 plus years. But you know what? Hey, we're going to actually, the last review I did of Spike Lee's was Chirac. That was back when I was doing the Mr. Redbox movie reviews. So there is a playlist in here that you guys can check out, Mr. Redbox, where I used to do movie reviews. I used to call myself that because I'm like, y'all had to go to Redbox. Y'all come to me because I have a huge movie collection. But that didn't work out, so we got the movie experience. So on today's movie experience, we're going to do the latest Spike Lee joint, Blackkklansman. Yes, you got to put the extra K in there, so it'll be Blackkklansman, like KKK Klansman. Spike Lee thing, y'all. Now, before we get to this movie, the Blackkklansman is about a black Colorado cop who infiltrates the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm like, this is a true story? How can you not see this if this is a true story? So, before we get into it, we're going to go to Spike Lee's joint. So I'm going to give you the good, give you the bad, and I'm going to give you the experience. So, let's start off with the good. So, for starters, Blackkklansman is starring John David Washington. Does that name sound familiar? Because he was on Ballers, and he is known as Denzel's son. This is the true baby Denzel. So, he does a great job in this movie. I was a little shaken because everybody's sitting there thinking like, oh, it's going to be your dad. But let me tell you something. You see images of Denzel in this guy. He got the little, you see the little walk coming out. You see the way he be talking. Like, I can hear Denzel in there. Cough him up a little bit. I can hear a little Denzel in there. So he was really good in the movie as well. And I liked how Spike Lee focused mostly on one story. A lot of problems with Spike Lee back in the day, in my personal opinion, was that he's a very powerful storyteller and he's a genius in his own right. However, Spike Lee would try to tell too many stories at once. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to get some of that in the bad, but for the main story, we try to focus on certain things with little subtle hints of something else, which I like about this movie of Spike Lee also. Topher Grace plays David Duke, who was the real infiltrator of the Ku Klux, the real leader of that Ku Klux Klan, that chapter in Colorado. Topher Grace did a fine job. And I'm not really big on Topher Grace. He can pass as Eric on that 70s show, but when it comes to in like Venom, I was done with him. I was done with him after Spider-Man 3, but but Topher Grace really did a good job in this movie as well. Adam Driver does play the Jewish cop who in there who plays John Stallworth when John David Washington is on the phone portraying him, and he has to go and actually go out there and do him, and he actually does a great job at it too. And also homegirl from Spider-Man Homecoming and Dr. Dre from Straight Outta Compton, they're both in this movie as well. So when I first watched this movie, I was like, this is gonna be like a comedy, because Spike don't do comedies. Look, this ain't no, first of all, this is like a drama. This is like some serious shit going on in this movie. But they bring the laughs though. They bring the laughs to help balance it out. It's not like Detroit. Like when you see Captain Bigelow's Detroit, you go in there and you're just like, oh wow, wow. All right, my God. There is no winning for these people in Detroit. But this one, there is some comedy balance that balances out in it. So I really like that part of the movie. And it does bring a good lesson to the movie. It does, show the relationships between cops and the Black Panther Party and the Klansmen, stuff like that. So it doesn't have a biased view on it. So I do appreciate that part about the movie. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a long one. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. But I do think that this is one of Spike Lee's better movies. I wasn't a big fan of Chirac like I wanted to be. And there's a couple other, like I said, his late 90s, 2000s movies were just not as the greatest as what it was in the the late 80s and early 90s Spike Lee, but he's getting back to form in this one as well. Now, after saying all that, I think I'm gonna go a little bit to the things I kind of didn't like. So let's go into the bad. Well, once again, like I said, this movie stays in one direction. There are times where Spike Lee is all over the place. That he is trying to illustrate different things and events about different things, such as there is things about Birth of a Nation that's in here, and Gone with the Wind, and the Charlottesville rally that happened last year. So there's all those kind of elements in there, and sometimes I'm just like, okay, they kind of feel out of place a little bit, but not too much though. Like it was accepted too. There have been Spike Lee movies I'm just like, there's no reason why that can be in here. You can make a whole movie about that just alone. You don't even have to like squeeze it into this movie, which it is cool about. There are some Klansmen that are more caricatures opposed to like characters in this movie, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I would like to probably see them take a little bit more seriously on that one. I mean, like, you know, I've seen some movies with like some straight double racism in there, and they're just like, but I don't know. It kind of bounces that way. I can't complain about that too much in my personal opinion. And there was a part of me I'm just like, okay, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. We probably could have took about 15 minits off the movie. We really could. It could have just been like a solid 2 hours, and then I think it would have wrapped up really, really nicely. It really would have. So I enjoyed that part too. So, but you know what? Not too much to say about that. Well, let's go into the experience. The experience was kind of cool. The movie came in the top 5 this weekend, and people went out there to see it. It wasn't a packed movie theater at all, the one I went to, but people did go out there to see it, and I do recommend Black, White, Asian, Native American, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, to go check this movie out. I really do. It's not like the trailer. I'm just like, look, just because you're African American, you probably should check it out at least once and never watch it again. No, this movie, I think you should check it out. I think it's Spike Lee back in the form that he needs to be in. So make sure, I recommend checking it out. So I'm going to give the new Spike Lee joint, Blackkklansman, a B+. Now, depending on what else comes out in the year, this may be in my top 10 films of the year so far. It still doesn't beat out A Quiet Place, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Black Panther, stuff like that. But this is a very powerful movie, and good job, Spike. Good job. Welcome back. So once again, guys, did you guys go out there and see Blackkklansman? Post down in the comments down below if you did, and you guys want to see more movie experiences. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right there and hit the little bell right there in the corner where you notify when I put up more movie reviews. So once again, this is NC, the place to be. Channel 20 Mustang D, and I'll see you at the movies.